And I think the difference with the Airbus is that the Airbus monitors every single system. So it's going to tell you when something breaks, where on the Boeing, it doesn't really monitor anything. Like there's no brake temperature, there's no this, there's no that. So you never really know if something's broken or not. So but it's been good, man. I like it. I like it.
Cool. All right, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Nice
Good,
to
good.
meet you.
You as well?
Joe Costanza, right?
Yep, you got it right. Not
Uh,
not many people do, man. So very good, very good.
how do they mess that up?
I don't know. It's they add an N in there, they take the T out, they botch
Uh,
it pretty much any way they can.
Fuck. So far, so good, eh?
All right, good, yeah.
Awesome, man. Tell me, where are you from?
Born and raised in New Jersey.
Ah, Jersey.
Yeah,
Where at?
yeah. So I grew up in Freehold, which is like central Jersey. And when I was at ExpressJet, I lived in North Jersey, like right probably in Hoboken, which was like 10, 15 minutes from Newark. And now I'm in South Jersey, which is like an hour and 10 from Newark, hour 10 south.
How far is
So
Jersey Shore from there?
it is about an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's not too far.
That's as far as I know about Jersey, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot nicer than people think, though. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody thinks that, they fly into Newark and they think that that's New Jersey, and it's not. It's a very small part of New Jersey.
You know what? My daughter's gonna have a she plays lacrosse college,
Oh, okay.
but my background, I'm Polish, right? So my daughter has a dual citizenship, so she plays for the national team in lacrosse. So they have this thing called the Heritage Cup, and it's right in Trenton, maybe a little bit
Okay.
outside. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's like 20 minutes from me, something
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be there in I think in May. Just got to
Okay.
double check, but that's cool.
Yeah.
And you've lived there ever since?
Yeah, born and raised, man. I moved down here when I got hired at towards the end of my time at ExpressJet. So 2012, something like that, 2011. And been here ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
ExpressJet. How long were you there?
So I started, let's see, I was flight instructing, then I got hired at Colgan, flying a Saab 340 in 2000. I think it was towards the end of 2005. And then I got hired at ExpressJet 2006, 2005, and I was there until March of 2013 when I got hired at Spirit.
Ah,
And
okay.
I was at Spirit for 11 and a half years.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get to that, man, because I that's an
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
story, yeah. But
Yeah. Yeah.
similar, you know what? I was at ASA with Coley, and
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
yes, I joined there in 2007. Then I left in 12. That's about the time when they kind of transitioned, maybe a year before, into ExpressJet.
Yeah.
And then I went over to the Middle East for a 9 year stint.
Where were you over there?
I was in Qatar.
Do you know Todd?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was at ExpressJet, right?
Yeah, man. I was
Yeah,
good friend. I was the FO rep when he was the captain rep. We still text each other. I've known Todd for a long time, man.
but he left,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he flies a Gulfstream. I think it's out of Trenton actually, is where they keep whoever keeps their Gulfstreams there is where he is.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he
yeah.
was on a 320. I was fortunate. I got on the 330,
Oh,
upgrade
nice.
upgraded on that, and then I went to the 350 for the last couple of years. So
Oof. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, we'll have a discussion as well about Boeing
Yeah.
versus Airbus. So for all those Boeing listeners,
Yeah.
it's not looking good for you.
Yeah, I know.
And
Uh,
you're flying that, right?
yeah, I'm on the 7-3. It's grown on me. I mean, there's
Yeah,
some things I'll never like about it, but we'll get into that. But
yeah,
yeah. I have a lot to say about that, but yeah, we'll get into it.
yeah. I've seen your little clips there on YouTube, kind of breaking it down.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did you get that bug to fly?
Dude, when I was little, my grandmother lived in Jersey City. So my dad would always take me, we'd go up there and just past the turnpike. And it was like the highlight of the trip, man, was just looking, driving past 13A, driving past Newark Airport and watching at the time, the Continental airplanes blasting off. And every time since then, an airplane would fly overhead, I'd look up, and that's kind of just always what I wanted to do. And then started by just forcing my dad to take me to a small local airport. It was called the Lair at the time. It's called Monmouth now. It was before 9/11, so we were walking around the ramp, and then the owner came out and just started talking. And I was 14 or 15 at the time, and he owned a flight school and a banner towing company. And he's like, "Hey, we need someone to set up the banners in the summer. If you want to work, I'll pay you towards flight credit, flight training." And I was like, "That's it, man. I'm hooked." So I did that for a couple summers, and that was, obviously like the lowest paying job I ever had, but it was probably the most fun I've ever had in aviation. It was just hanging out with the tail draggers, talking to the pilots. Just it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. So that's how I got started.
Cool. And you were the first in the family, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I started late, dude. My love was ice hockey, so I
Okay.
played that.
I play hockey. Yeah.
I was fortunate to go overseas, play 4 years. That's how I met my wife there. Then I went to school, but yeah, so I got a late start, man. 26, 25,
Okay.
26 is when I started, but
Are you still at Qatar now?
no, no, no.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's
I met this outfit that wears brown pants to work. I don't know if you're
okay. I
familiar. Yeah.
see the model up there. So okay, yeah, all right. That's what I thought.
Well, that's cool, man. So yeah, 16, and that's when you started pretty much getting into a license.
Yeah, I soloed I think it was around my 15th birthday, but in like 1995 I soloed, and then got my private pilot's license, and then went to Riddle 2000 and 2000. And at the time they didn't have enough flight instructors, so no first year students could fly. So I was like an aeronautical science major for the first year. I think I flew 1 hour in Daytona with some just absolute dickhead of an instructor. And then I didn't fly for like a year, year and a half. And then I went back to Riddle as a sophomore. My grades were terrible. And I was kind of trying to figure out what to do. And then I actually ended up leaving Riddle and went home to finish up at Rutgers and did all my ratings and all my flight instructing locally here at a small flight school. I got a history degree and then flight instructed up until 2004, 2005, something like that.
Okay, so that was your way to get into the airlines.
Yeah.
Was that your ultimate goal too, to get into the airline flying?
Yeah. Yeah. I always wanted to be an airline pilot. It was never, charter, corporate, never, if you can make a lot of money in like, flying the bush in Alaska or doing crop dusting, I'd probably do that, but I've always wanted to be an airline pilot for sure.
You know how it is now, right? We're sitting there because I'm based in Anchorage. Well, now Louisville, but I was in Anchorage for five
Okay.
years.
Okay.
And we sit there, see a DC-3 or, some caravan. We're like, man, we'd love to be
Yeah.
doing that, And the same guy
Yeah.
sitting down there looking at us going, man, I'd love
I
to be
know.
flying a 747.
I know. I know.
Nobody's,
Yeah.
nobody's ever
Yeah.
happy, right?
I know. It's so true.
Yeah, cool. And how hard was it for you to get into an airline once you had all your time?
So it wasn't, I think when I had all my time, it was 2004-ish was around there. And there was no ATP minimums at the time, or you didn't need to have your ATP like you do now. But you needed 100 multi. That was like, it was either 50 or 100 multi was like the ticket. So I remember flight instructing, and I was working on my MEI, working on my double I, which I never got either of those. And I had I think it was called Wagner Aviation out of Lincoln Park. They had like a package you could buy 50 hours in a Duchess. So my dad paid for that, and I would just fly around in a Duchess, which was like my favorite airplane ever in the world to fly. So I did that and then applied to, at the time, it was like Mesa, American Eagle, um, Masaba, Pinnacle, Colgan, and I think it was an Express Jet. An Express Jet never called me. I had an interview with Eagle, but I had gotten a class date with Colgan first. So I went there. And I got that job. I think I got that job around 1,600 hours and like 150 multi, something like that. Um, and it was like 1650 an hour. It was, I mean, but it was at the time, it was awesome. I was like, I'm an airline pilot, like I made it.
That's it.
And now you look at what the regional guys and girls are making now, and I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely, and they're flying these brand new jets. They're not flying Dash 8s, Saabs, and Beech
Oh,
1900s, stuff like that. So it's
yeah,
crazy.
that was one of the reasons why I left, working your ass off and flying 95 hours to make what, 3 grand. a
Yeah.
month. Yeah, it's a joke.
Yep.
Now these kids are making 90 some bucks an hour, right? To
Yeah.
start.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I mean, the ones that started during COVID, I mean, they were at a regional for a year and then got hired on like a wide body at Delta, United, American, and now they're like captains at like 25, and they're like, ah, this is just what it is, I guess.
Yes.
Um, which is interesting because I think that puts a really a skewed perspective on guys and girls that are coming up now that think because they're not able to do that, that they're either way behind or this industry is crap. And it's like you have no idea how good you have it and how bad it could be. And there was just a very narrow window where some people really made out well. And it's just everybody's path looks a little different. So hopefully, people don't get too discouraged by their path looking a lot different than those that just came up in the industry recently.
Yeah. Well, man, that was first time I ever seen anything like that. When, they're offering 100 grand to hire somebody. And
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
so we had this
Yep.
thing well, I'll get back to that. But when you said you were flying to Dutchess, man, I was building time in this Travel Air. And there's this flight school near O'Hare, a little bit west of it. But this thing was the biggest piece of shit, but it was cheap. And you'd
Yeah.
get, you'd kind of split time with another dude. And I remember going over, calling flight following, and we're going to go to Grand Rapids over the lake, right? And the controller, he goes, "You're in 7 Mike Delta?" I go, "Yep, affirm." And he goes, "Well, you're taking life in your own hands."
Yeah, yeah.
They
Good
knew it,
luck,
man.
right? Yeah,
They
yeah,
knew he was such a piece of shit. It would blow a oil line at every time. You like half the time you did a run up, you had to go back. So, but yeah,
yeah.
dude, what you
The good
do,
old
like
days.
that's the thing
Yeah.
that these new kids coming up that's they don't realize the kind of things that we had to do to, right?
No. And I mean
Phone,
they're getting their ATP. They're going to like Avenger flight group and doing it in like in an Airbus sim
right?
where like guys, if they wanted ATPs back when we came up, they'd have to go out in a Seneca and go do it with like a DP or like whatever. It was just a whole different thing back then.
Yeah. Even general aviation, man, it's just they got a
Yeah.
little LCD screen and that's it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. All
Who
their
knows what a
Garmin
six
stuff.
pack is? Yeah.
I know, I know. Yeah.
Shit, dude. That's
Yeah.
cool, man. And then, so how long did you spend at Colgan? I remember Chuck Colgan calling me in
Dude,
2006. Yeah.
Dude, Chuck Colgan called me. So it's funny. I remember we were at the flight school, and I was like, "Oh, I applied to Colgan," and we were talking about something, and they're like, "Oh, what do you think? Chuck Colgan's going to call you and offer you a class date?" And then literally, like a week later, dude, like Chuck Colgan was on the phone, and he asked me about a couple flights I had just done about the weather, and like near Allentown, Pennsylvania, and then they brought me down for an interview at LaGuardia, and we actually had a sim ride, and we went in a Beach 1900 and took off and did like a hold, shot an approach for Colgan, which at the time was not like, it was on the bottom end of the
Yeah.
regional commuters. So yeah, it's crazy, man. So I was there for just under a year, and they actually sued me because I there was a training contract at the time, and I had left before that. And I was like, hey, listen, I'll give you your training contract back, but you guys still owe me my last paycheck. And they never paid me. And then I never paid them. So kind of it was like a wash, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was applying to Comair. Thank God I didn't go there, man. But because
Yeah.
that like the moment I joined ASA in '07, and it was like you'd fly to Cincinnati, and that what was that the Scene Concourse. It was, it was packed with these little CRJs, and then
Yeah.
6 months later, it was like half, and then you just show up and it's bulldozed and it's gone, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So,
Comair was the place to go to back in the day.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the shit, man. That and American Eagle, and
Yeah.
look, both of them are gone.
I know. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
And Mason's still going.
Mhm. Yeah, like that one is
Yeah.
like that's like
Uh,
that's like a roach, just it could
yeah.
be a nuclear holocaust, man, and then
Yeah.
there they are.
Yep.
But um, so you went to Spirit, and how many years you spend there?
11 and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how
I
was
mean,
the
I
beginning
was.
in Spirit? Because I know it wasn't the place, and then it became they got a really nice contract, and
Yeah, so I remember when I was a first officer rep at ExpressJet and ASA during that time, just every month was just worse and worse news. And I was like, man, I've been stuck as an FO for almost 8 years. There's no movement. I got to do something. And at the time, I think the only airlines that were hiring were JetBlue and I think Spirit, and maybe Delta. I'm not sure, but I obviously wasn't qualified back then. Even though the time I had was significantly more than the time that people are getting on now with Delta. But anyway, so I remember I went out to a job fair. I had a buddy. He's a buddy now, but I didn't know him at the time. His name is Ron. He sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, man, I usually work the job fairs for Spirit. I've seen some of your stuff online. Like, if you want to apply, let me know." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm very interested." Um, so I got in touch with a Spirit recruiter. I remember flying out to Las Vegas for a job fair, and I think it was United at the time. I went out there, and the guy was like, "Oh, you're traveling to Vegas for a job fair for Spirit," like just really like derogatory. And I'm like, "Dude, I gotta make moves. I'm having kids, like whatever." Um, so I went out there and then had the job fair, which was great. And then I remember landing, and then I jump seated back on a United 320. And I remember the captain was, because it was me and another guy were jump seating on a red eye back home, and he was not happy. But I get it, not a lot of room up there. He did let us jump seat, so whatever. And by the time I landed, I had a interview for Spirit, and I interviewed a couple months later, got hired, and then started training. And I literally, Spirit was like a very small, scrappy airline. They didn't have like a fancy training center. It was in like an FBO, but Spirit, it was great. I loved every single person that I came in contact with. Loved the airplane. It was a really, really good company while I was there, and I would have stayed forever up until the merger got blocked and things kind of fell apart. So it was, looking back, I guess I should have left sooner, but hindsight's 2020. Nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, you're always hoping it's gonna get better, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
something comes through and yeah, hopefully they still there's something in the talks, right? Who is it now? That
Yeah,
was
and
Frontier?
I think so. Frontier just announced they're like returning some airplanes. I think their financials are not very good, but I just don't see Spirit going away. I really don't. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but I think they'll make it through. And I hope they do, because you never want to see any pilot group suffer through that. But there's some straight up awesome guys and girls over at Spirit. So I hopefully, and I think they will pull through somehow. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, when I left to Qatar, man, I went for 3 years, right? Stayed 9. Um, you get comfortable, but I remember I was in my 4th year and my upgrade came up because they had a lot of guys that they hired, they weren't qualified. Now, like ICAO stuff is completely different world than FAA when it
Yeah,
comes to guys getting their ratings or girls. Um, they get to literally had second officers in the right seat with 200 hours on a 330. And that's how they get their ratings. They get this frozen ATPL when they get their like written exams. They have 13 exams, and then they're hired, and they go through a type rating, and then they do their reps with line training guys, and they get qualified. Man, there was like a lot of guys that would get upset that they instead of 330, they got a 320 with 200 hours. And
yeah,
I'm looking at these
I,
guys and go, buddy, do you know what?
yeah. It's mind blowing.
So
Yeah,
like I told one guy, I go, dude, like in US, that was at that time, way back when. I said, guys, when they're retiring, they get like to fly the 330 for 6 months and then they go off.
yeah,
They're done, right? Because they put in
yeah.
20 some years on the 320. But yeah, it's a different world. So I remember going through class upgrade, and all the guys from my class at ASA were still FOs. So they were 9 years there.
Yeah.
And they were one of them, I think. I know Coley did, but then there was one other guy that upgraded. I was like, man, are you kidding me? That in a regional, we used to
Yeah.
go for 2 years, right? Get your time and then
Yeah. Yeah.
pop off like now, right?
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there's some strange times, but yeah, and you know what? I've got a few guys there as well at Spirit, and actually, it was one of the places I was considering, like 2019.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was talking to people. I was like, "Hey, you guys hiring?" They're like, "Yeah, just let me know. We'll get you in." I was kind of on the fence, and then COVID happened, and then nobody was hiring, right? So we were still flying a lot in Qatar. We were like the only airline in the Middle East. Everybody else shut down. We were just buzzing, going to Australia, like 5 planes, just us. We had
Yeah. Yeah.
ADSB, so that's all we could see. It was just our airplanes. But that was goofy time, and then probably around that, kind of opened my eyes. I was commuting, so I couldn't get home.
Yeah.
And so I finally decided, I'm like, hey, man, I'm just going to look at some airlines. And I got lucky. Right before they shut everything down, I went to one of these job fairs, Women Aviation in Orlando.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Flew in for like 5 days. Day two, I flew down, met with UPS people, some other people, and I went to Spirit as well. And then I flew back home after, back to work in like 4 days. And then everything went shut
Yeah.
down. I was like, glad. So, and that kind of started, did a Zoom interview, and that all worked out. But yeah, it was a strange time. But, you
Yeah.
know,
It
I, I,
was.
I definitely considered Spirit. So, yeah, it's a shame, man, because I know a lot of guys were happy. There's still guys there that kind of waiting it out, and
Yeah. And, the other thing too is, all like I was, let's say 20% as a captain, company wide. A lot of my friends, we would fly with FOs that were bouncing left and right. And it's like, well, for us, we've got so much time invested, and like the merger was still in court. And it's like, if the merger gets passed, it brilliant, let's stay. If not, we're fucked. But we didn't think, first of all, we didn't think it was going to get blocked, and when it did, we were just like, wow, like, now what? So, but at that whole 2 year period, whatever it was, our 2,000 hour FOs, 3,000 hour FOs were all just blasting off to the legacies while we were kind of hanging out. And it's my own fault for not maybe applying and getting a class date, but I don't want to get a class date too early and then turn it down. So like the timing was just kind of not good. But that's this industry, man. You know it. I mean, that's just what happens, timing and luck. Timing is everything. So
yeah, never piss off your FO. He'll be your chief pilot
Y-
one day, right?
dude, so I have a trip. I have a trip this Sunday, upcoming Sunday, where the captain is one of my former FOs, and he's a great guy. But it's just, you're 100% right, because I'm flying with a lot of captains that were my FOs at Spirit, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Couple guys in Qatar, man, they were my FOs, and they just
yeah,
left earlier, and then now they're way senior to me at
yeah,
UPS. So
yeah, yep,
yeah, you got to really kind of really respect everybody, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
even the bad ones. But
yeah.
yeah, that's fun, dude. And so, if you were to do it over again, would you consider popping off a lot earlier?
It's- I, like I wish it worked out better, because you know, being at United now, it to me. So there's a couple things, right? Being a captain at United, I think, has to be the easiest job in the entire airline profession. And the reason why I say that is because I was a captain at Spirit, and I see what goes on at United. And United gives you every single tool you could ever possibly need or want to make sure that you are successful and you accomplish moving an airplane from A to B as safely and as efficiently as possible. I mean, there are so many tools, all on your iPad alone. So there's just a huge support system. And Spirit was a great airline, and they did the best that they could, but there just wasn't quite as much support, maybe IT wise or flight ops wise, as there was at United. And it's not a knock at Spirit, it's just a smaller airline. They haven't been, United's been around 100 years, so they've had time to kind of develop a really strong flight operations, if you will. So, that being said, I wish the timing worked out better, but I don't want to say that I wish I did it differently, only because I was able to do Spirit. I would block, I don't know, 200, 250 hours a year and make like a lot of money. Where at United, you don't really have, unless you're like super senior, you can't really just drop, and the scheduling flexibility is not quite there. And I don't have the seniority, but I do remember one of my good friends. His name is Mike. He's been at United. He's a year younger than me, and he's going to be able to hold 777 captain in the next, I don't know, year or two maybe. Um, and he's like number 5,000 on the seniority list. I'm number like 17,000. And I remember he would always tell me, dude, come over, come over. And I'm like, oh, I'm good, man. And I remember at my cousin Brett's wedding, one of their neighbors, this was 2015, one of their neighbors was a United 7.5 captain in Newark. And we were talking, and he's like, dude, I'm going to play golf with the Newark chief pilots this weekend. Like, do you want to come? And I'm like, nah, man, I just upgraded. I like Spirit. So like, and clearly that, could have changed everything. But at the time I was at Spirit, I had 4 kids. I was able to get the Cub. I was able to learn a lot being a captain for as long as I was. So there was just so many positives during my time at Spirit. So I don't wish that I could have done it differently. I just wish that the timing worked out a little better because United was having unfilled captain vacancies in Newark on the 7-3 for I think almost like a year, every class. And then I went and that kind of all stopped and I missed it by like 2 or 3 months. I think around 2 months I missed it. So now I'm flying with captains that are 400 numbers senior to me and they're 24 years old and they've got significantly less experience, just life experience. They're not, and it's not that they're not good captains and they're not, I mean, they're clearly competent and capable, but it's just like, man, if I would have gotten hired a little bit earlier, that could have been me. And now upgrade has gotten a lot senior and I'm getting older. So like that time to kind of make up for lost income as a captain at Spirit, it's getting a lot smaller. Um, and it was just a very the timing. I just missed the timing. That being said, I'm not I'm 40, low 40% on the FO seat, so, and it's great. And every single junior captain that I've flown with, who's like 25, I go in there and I'm like, this guy, and then I end up flying with them, and like I learn a lot, and they're awesome. So it's almost, which is great, right? Because you don't want to be stuck flying with someone that's like, man, this guy's an arrogant, prick. And they've all been great. They really have been. So that makes it a lot easier. And they've taught me a lot of things about the 7-3. So it's very hard for me to complain. And the other thing too is Spirit just took a pay cut, and I don't know if they're going to take another one, but they took a pay cut, and I think that when I left there, I think my pay rate was 312 an hour, and now I think the 12th year captain pays 280 an hour. I'm at 192 on the FO side here in Newark on the 7-3, and because I live in base, I have to hustle a lot more, but I could pretty much make what I made as a captain at NK. Now, of course, at Spirit, I wasn't working as much, but here, there's so much flying and there's day trips, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, Caribbean stuff. So it's very easy to work a lot here and not feel like I'm just completely physically and mentally drained. Um, so that's kind of nice too, to be able to get close to what I was making, if not make more than I would be making as a Spirit captain. So now, that being said, my vacations, if and when I do ever upgrade, I held like June, July, August vacation as a captain in Spirit. I don't think I'll ever have that at United, but that's kind of a small price to pay. So
February 14th. Yeah, I got it.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
I just looked at my vacation and like I thought 100% that I was for June, which I always had June, and I'm looking, it's like April, and I look at my wife, I go, "The fuck is happening in April, right?" And she goes, "Nothing." I go, "Why do you have April?" I go, I still to this day, I'm like, "You told me to bid for this." She's like,
Oh my
"No,
God, yeah,
no,"
no, not
because
not
I could have
April.
held it, right? But I'm like, "Oh, so yeah, I've got this
Yeah,
fucking vacation." But the nice thing about, I don't know, you guys are PBS, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we're at here at UPS. There is no, it is a different bidding system. We bid on 2 month cycles, and we have
Oh,
this
okay.
OCV thing where we can drop trips just by touching the vacation, and it's really nice, paid, and so I'm able to manipulate the schedule pretty well. But yeah, man. But like 400 people, that was like two classes for United, wasn't it?
Literally, yeah. I mean, it was, yeah. I mean, they were pumping through, a couple hundred a month. So yeah, and I applied and right when the merger was blocked, I applied in January, and I was updating my app like after every single flight, whether it was in the Cub or on the Airbus. I was updating it, and like I was an Alpha rep for 10 years, ton of turbine PIC time, and like I'm hearing, FOs getting interviews. I couldn't get an interview for, to save my life. So I paid for an app review, still nothing. And then I had a friend who was a Spirit captain that left to go to United. And we were talking on DMing each other on Instagram. And he's like, dude, are you, I don't want to pry, but are you thinking about maybe applying to United? And I'm like, dude, I've been applying to United like every couple of hours. I update my app. Uh, and he's like, oh man, send me your resume. Let me see if I can help you out. And then he emailed it to somebody, and like 24 hours later, I had an email for the Hogan, and then got the interview, and then the rest is history. So Whatever magic happened, or whether it was coincidence or what, but it took a little bit of time. So
Yeah, it's funny, like these stories, like yours. So imagine I was at ASA and I was trying to go somewhere, right? So I'm looking at Emirates, Qatar, and all these things. And same, just I would fill out an app for Qatar like 10 times now. Nothing, nothing. I even called them like, "Did you get my application?"
yeah,
"Yes." And that's it, right? I'm like, "And?" We're
yeah,
reviewing it,
yeah,
right? So I'm like, "What the So finally one night, it's like 10:30 at night, dude, and I'm just sitting in front of a computer, and again, I'm gonna apply, and in the right corner, I see this thing flashing going, "US Roadshow." So I click on it, it says Chicago. So it's Wednesday night. That's Thursday morning. And I'm like, I tell my wife, my daughter was little at the time. Like I'm taking my daughter to my mom's house. I'm dropping her off, put on the suit, resume, and I'm going to this road show. And
yeah.
same thing, dude. I meet a guy there. This guy's now with UPS as well. It's like a small
Oh, no
world, right?
kidding. Oh, that's
But
funny.
he was there doing a road show, and I'm like, hey, I got all my time, whatever you need, times 10. Um, I'm interested, right? He goes, give me 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I had invitation. I went for the interview. Everything was done. But it's funny how that works, right? You could be stabbing at something for
Yeah,
days, weeks, nothing. And then you meet the right person. They're like, oh, yeah, you want it? Here you go. Right.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's nice to
Yep.
have. Yeah. I'm like, I wish I knew about those little
I know, I know, I know,
treasures before
I know.
instead of
Yeah,
applying. But that's cool, man. And then how long
yeah.
you been at United so far?
Uh, a year and call it a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's got to be pretty good.
yeah,
Moving
yeah. I've
pretty
got.
fast, right? Because they're
I
still hiring.
Yeah, they're still hiring. I have one of my new hire classmates that's at Spirit just started this past Tuesday. And he actually started with the longtime system chief pilot at Spirit too, just started. So yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's hard, especially, I mean, you were there 11 years, right? And then you move
Yeah,
over. But imagine guys like that, where they're like settled. They think that's it. I'm done. I'm just have a nice
yeah,
cushion position, and then they got to
yeah.
start over again. That's gotta.
But yeah, what I think is kind of interesting, and I said this in my United interview, and it's kind of a blessing in disguise. But I remember, especially, we started doing flying out of Newark, and I'd be taxiing, the Airbus in Newark, and I'd see United, and it's kind of like, the old girlfriend of the one that got away, because that's where I've always wanted to be ever since I was at, ExpressJet. But you upgrade, you start to have a family, you start making money. It's kind of irresponsible to be like, you know what? That's where I want to go. I want to go fly for that airline. Let me start over and let me blow up my family's schedule so I can go do worry about me. And I always felt like that was irresponsible. And then when the merger got blocked, it was like, this is actually perfect because I can go do what I wanted to do since I was a little kid. And financially, it's the more responsible thing for the safety and well-being of my family. So it was kind of like the perfect storm. It was just kind of a weird roundabout way to get there, but it kind of presented itself in where I actually looked at the Spirit falling apart as kind of a positive and kind of allowed me to make the jump and not feel like I was doing something irresponsible for myself and for my family.
Yeah. Same, man. Like I told you, I went for 3 years. I stayed 9, and you upgrade and you get comfortable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you're on your little honeymoon. Then you're like, oh man,
Hmm.
this is great. Huh? Get to fly with my favorite captain every day.
Ah,
So
yeah.
And then and then, well, maybe a blessing, like you said, because that kind of forced you, even talking probably with your wife, like, hey, this is the right thing to do, right? We gotta
Yeah. Yep.
make a move because who knows what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. But that's cool. Tell me about a
Yeah.
320, man. How'd you like that?
It was great, man. There's a ton of room. It's quiet. It's so easy to learn, between like open to set and thrust climb, like everything about it. The systems are just so easy to understand. I feel like I could take one of my kids that are 10 years old, spend the whole day with them in the sim, and like, they could get it. The 7.3, not a chance. That is an airplane that requires a lot more airmanship.
Yeah.
Um, but I miss the quietness and the comfort of the bus, but it's definitely more, I don't know if satisfying is the right word to fly the 7.3. You got to really pay attention to it. You got to fly with the Airbus. You kind of just manage it and just kind of push and pull these knobs. So the 7.3 is growing on me a lot. I still think the VNAV is horrific. The auto throttles are not nearly as good as the Airbus. They do move, which is great, but I don't know, and I feel like it's got a much better wing. It's got maybe because it's shorter or stronger landing gear. I think it's just a stronger, more stout airplane. And I say that it never breaks, but I say that, and I think the difference with the Airbus is that the Airbus monitors every single system. So it's going to tell you when something breaks, where on the Boeing, it doesn't really monitor anything. Like there's no brake temperature, there's no this, there's no that. So you never really know if something's broken or not. So but it's been good, man. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, man. No, I still to this day miss the bus, and we've got a lot of Emirates guys too, and we always
Yeah.
sit there and they're like, these, of course, they're Boeing guys, and they're like, yeah, I still like this plane. You get to fly it, and then I'm like, uh, so,
Yeah. I mean,
so we just look over, and he goes, this guy doesn't understand, does he?
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you talk to the guys like, oh, I'm never bidding something else. And it's like, look, you haven't flown the Airbus, so believe me, like it's a much. And like, let's face it, we all go to work for a paycheck. It's an
Yeah.
office, so like, shouldn't you want the most comfortable, quietest, environmentally friendly cockpit around? And it's definitely the Airbus over the Boeing, no matter what.
Yeah, dude, and I still like my scan went completely to shit with the bus because we never turned anything off. So the only time I had auto throttles off was auto thrust.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. That's right.
I had it off once because it broke the speed window. Just basically froze and I couldn't do anything. So it just kept going in the box and changing the speed. And had to disconnect and land it. It was perfect, great, right? It worked great.
Yeah,
But in 9 years, off once. So
yeah,
you always know that it's there, right? So you're never scanning. You're just like, okay, just follow the flight director, 50, 40, idle, boom. That's it.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, I completely agree from like the functionality and operation. It is so easy. It is
Oh,
just
it's
so,
so easy, so
yeah,
much easier to land. I mean, everything about it is just significantly easier. But
yeah.
you know,
That's hard work on a 7.3 FO, man. Because I sometimes I jump seat, and you guys, I mean, you're flipping switches, and I'm trying to keep up, and
dude,
I'm like, what the?
yeah, I feel like I'm a train conductor, and like, but part of it's kind of fun because you're like, I mean, it is crazy and it keeps you kind of in the loop. But yeah, the captains, their flows are like, I think they have like fuel pumps, yaw damper, and like maybe one other thing.
Yeah,
Like it's insane where the FO is just doing literally everything. So yeah, it's a busy, busy seat. But you figure, from here on out, depending what airplane I bid with seat, it's only going to get easier from here. So I
right.
guess that's the silver lining.
Okay. What's the obviously your schedule, but what's the like progression of moving up? 7.8 or
So I
seven
could have,
six?
when I first got hired, I was like, listen, as soon as I can hold the 7.5, which is at United, they call it the 7.56 because 757, 767. That's what I was going to bid because I've done this domestic flying since 2005. I wanted to change it up. I wanted to fly the Boeing or the 7.5. And then I could hold it, but like at 99%, and my schedule started to get good. And now I can hold it at, let's say 90%, but I'm like 40%. So like day trips, weekends off, holidays off, like I can't give that up to go fly a 7.5 at night to London during the weekends. Like that's not something I want to do with still a young family. Um, Now, if I could hold true wide body, like the 777 and 7.8, I'd probably do that because the pay rate is like it's almost $300 an hour, which is more than like a 12-year Spirit captain, and they don't fly a whole lot. And if they do, it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to Tokyo. I'm going someplace that I can only dream about. So that I would do, even at 99%. But the 7.5, because it's essentially the same exact pay rate as a 7.3, that I'm not going to do. And I don't as far as upgrade goes, I have no idea when that's going to happen. So I guess, well, that I would take it obviously in Newark at 99%. I would. I don't think I'd commute for the left seat. Not at this point in my life.
You sure you want to sit on your ass for 15 hours and enjoy those
You
amazing
know,
destinations?
I know that's kind of what I'm afraid of. Is I'm not a night person, and I can't sleep in an airplane. But then it's like, well, if I'm doing 4 or 5 day trips a week through whatever it is, I got like 2 or 3 a.m. So like I'm not really rested. But everyone's like, no, it's a much different fatigue level doing that night long haul stuff. And I'm like, maybe. But then those guys also don't really work that much. So I don't know. I guess pick your poison.
Yeah, my longest is 17 hours. So
Yeah,
yeah, but at least you're
that's
in the bunk for about 8.
yeah. I mean, if I knew for a fact I could sleep on an airplane, I'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, no brainer. But if you're junior, you're getting like the shitty breaks and all that stuff too. So I don't know. It's kind of a lot to think about.
Yeah, the worst part about getting old is you got to get up about 4 times to go to the
Yeah,
bathroom on that
yeah, yeah,
break,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's the worst part. I've thought about bringing diapers, but uh, next time.
yeah.
That's cool, dude. And are you guys also covering LaGuardia and JFK if you're based in
So
Newark, if you have
I
reserve?
don't know if I don't think we actually started JFK just yet because we have that JetBlue partnership thing. And I don't know who's going to cover that. It might just be like a overnight there or something. But we cover LaGuardia and Newark. LaGuardia, I got tagged with once on reserve, but they pay for short-term parking, and there's like a little bit of I don't know if it's a COLA or per diem or something attached to that, but it's very easy to bid or trade out of LaGuardia trips because there's a whole bunch of guys that live in Long Island that love that stuff. So, and I think 99% of LaGuardia trips start like late afternoon, so it makes it a lot easier.
There'd be a lot of traffic to go through
Yeah, I
to get
know.
to the.
Yeah,
Okay. What's the most senior base for United at this time?
Orlando,
Is it?
easily.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Which I feel bad because not that I feel bad, but it's too bad because there's a ton of Spirit guys and girls that were Orlando based or Lauderdale based, and then came over to United, and now like I mean, it's going to be years before the way it looks now. Of course, it could change, but it's going to be years before they can hold Orlando. So they're commuting to Newark or Houston or wherever, which just sucks.
Yeah. 30 people waiting for one seat, right?
Yeah,
Trying to
yeah,
commute up. Yeah. I'm there. But it's nice for us. It's easy to get on because all the flights usually begin around 3 a.m.
okay,
or like mid-afternoon, and you always have a flight either at night or early morning. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
nice to get in there. Okay, cool. Um, when you left for the airlines, did you continue flying general aviation, or were you sort of like
You
me,
know,
where you
I
just disappeared
I
from it?
I didn't. I didn't think I meant to, or maybe at the time I was burned out from instructing, and I was like, yeah, there's no way. And then I missed it. I think I went flying once when I was at ExpressJet, and then when I was at Spirit, my second year, I always wanted to get a tailwheel endorsement, and I remember scheduling it, and my wife like made me cancel it. She's like, I don't understand, you don't. Why do you want to fly? And I'm like, okay, I'll cancel it. And then like 6 months later, I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. Like I like flying, and then I got my tailwheel endorsement shortly thereafter, and then I've been hooked back on GA ever since then, which was we'll say about 2014 or something like that. So um, yeah.
Is that when you got your Cub?
I got my Cub in 2018, I think. It was after I upgraded for a couple years and wanted one, and I was on Barnstormers looking, and it just kind of worked out perfectly because I remember looking on Barnstormers. I saw one. I was talking to the guy, and he's like, I have another guy coming to look at it, but if you're serious, you got to come down and look at it in the next couple days. I think I was on reserve as a captain, and they called me. Actually, I was on days off and I was going to head down there, and schedule called me. They're like, "Hey, we have a trip that overnights like 24 hours in Atlanta, and this is where the Cub was." So I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I
Sold.
remember landing there. Yeah, the guy picked me up, flew the airplane, and then sent my wife a selfie of me in the airplane and said, "Surprise, we bought an airplane," and that was it, man. So
How much were they at the time then?
I paid 35 for my J3.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're almost double.
Yeah, I think mine. I feel like I don't know what I could sell mine for now. I probably low 40s, maybe 45. I don't know. It's got some time on the motor, but it's only got 65 horsepower. But yeah, maybe 40, 45, something like that.
That's what I got, man. 65 in my Taylor Craft.
Okay, yeah, yeah. There you go.
But dude, I left like GA. The last time I flew it was when I went to ASA. I never went
Okay. Oh
back.
wow.
Right. And then when I came back to US, Then, still I still play hockey with, well, my, old friends, right? We get together on Fridays, and one of these guys, he's a contractor, but he's like, "Oh, I love flying, man. Your job's so cool." And then, so I go, "Hey, I'm looking to have somebody do a little revamp on my house, but, let me get checked out, and we'll go up whenever you wanna go, right?" And that's how I got hooked back. He basically, because of him, right? I went to an
Yeah.
airport, and a funny story. My daughter's boyfriend at the time, um, the kid's dad was an instructor. He still is an instructor at one of these airports here. So we went up in the Cub, and I just, oh man, I like, this is the
Yeah.
best shit ever, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
all I got
It's
to remember
awesome.
is 60, 60, 60 carb heat, right?
Yeah.
That's all,
That's
man.
right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
that it was awesome, and that was like the funnest flying ever. And I got my tail wheel endorsement, and I was hooked. And then I started kind of thinking, nah, you know what? Now I'm calling in, trying to rent these airplanes, and they're booked. I can't get in, and I'm in this flying club, and these guys want to wash planes. So I go, all right. Let me go look for an airplane. And I found a 140 in
Okay.
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I fly out there, right? I talk to the guy, we go flying, it's nice, and we, kind of settle on the price. But I got a good tip from somebody saying, hey, use a title company, huh? Just go through these guys because you never know. All
Yeah.
right, cool. So they go through all this. We basically have a deal done, set, and the lady emails me, says, yeah, all the paperwork is done, and there's a little lien on the title. Lean. I call the guy, I go, hey man, what's this lean? He goes, oh, it's been there forever. It's not a big deal, right? I go,
Yeah.
for you, not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So I backed out of that one. And the airport where I keep my plane, um, it's a little, yeah, it's got 3 strips, but grass fields. And I told the guy, listen, I can't bring that plane in just yet because the deal fell through, but I've got something else on my, looking at, and I might bring it, let's say in a week or two. He calls me back in like 2 minutes, says, by the way, there's a Taylor craft here that, this guy passed away and the wife's selling. If you want to come take a look. I didn't even know what a Taylor craft is.
Yeah.
But I went out there with my wife. We looked at it and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. So I flew it maybe a week later. And yeah, that's it. 25
Yeah.
grand, dude. It's easy.
Oh, it's
There's
great.
nothing,
Yep.
no finesse to it at all. Nothing. It
Yeah.
just hand propping like you do it on your videos.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, man, this is some really cool shit. So yeah, I got the bug back, man.
Yeah.
Flew yesterday when you were texting like, "Hey, let's move this." I'm like, "Yep,"
Oh,
because I'm
yeah. Yeah.
going.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so I went out and it's fun, man. My feet
It
never hurt
is.
as much as they did in flying that thing. Trying to get that tail wheel endorsement
Yeah.
on those
Yeah.
pedals, but no, I think I'm immune now. But yeah, it's really cool. So, what do you have 2 planes now?
Yeah. I bought a Super Cub
Yeah.
about a month or two ago. Yeah. It's financial. I've made a lot of poor decisions financially in my life. This is probably the top of it, but whatever.
Don't
You know.
worry, man. Join the
Yeah.
club. I'm
Right.
right
Yeah.
there with
Yeah.
you.
You only live once. Yeah.
Yeah, we were driving last night with my wife. I'm looking over at these homes, sort of, a couple streets down, and I'm like, man, these, like whatever I made last year, and I'm like, yeah, these guys probably make in a month what I make in a year. And
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
wife
Yeah.
looks at
Yeah.
me, she goes, we'd find a way to piss that off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
100%.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just wherever you are, it's a different point of view, right? So
100%.
yeah, yeah, no, that's cool, dude. And Super Cub, what does that have? What's the
So
horsepower and
this one, a pretty cool history. It was rolled off the factory floor in 1950, and then it was part of like a very small group of Super Cubs that were sent to the largest dealership in South Africa. So it spent its whole life in South Africa. It did like a little bit of ag spraying there out there, and then the gentleman that owned it completely tore it down in 2022, I think, like down to the frame, sandblasted the frame, X-rayed it, like complete ground up restoration. They did all the STCs that you want for a Super Cub, like extended baggage, got a beautiful panel, 160 horsepower, overhauled engine, Lycoming engine. So it's perfect. So someone bought it there, and then they shipped it over to Florida. The guy moved to Florida, and it was in Spruce Creek. And again, I was on Barnstormers and I saw it. I'm like, oh man. uh So I made that happen, and then I got a whole bunch of, exhaust, gear, tires, wheels, tail wheel, a whole bunch of other mods that I'm getting done to it now. Because the J3, I just want to keep it simple, classic, for late afternoon summer flying. And then the Super Cub, I'd like to do some more camping trips, either up in Maine or out west, or go to West Virginia, Idaho, stuff like that is the goal with this airplane. So hopefully I can make it happen.
And that's also a tandem, right? That's not a side by side?
Yeah, it's also the frame is almost, I think, identical to a J3. It's maybe a little bit wider, a little bit longer, but it's I think the wings are the same. It's got flaps on it. It's got a starter. So it's got a little bit more things that the Cub doesn't have, but frame wise, it's pretty similar.
Okay. Sure
Yeah.
you put those big wheels on there, man. You're gonna have a nice little
Yeah.
drag, huh?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, I bought a Super Cub to go fast, and now I put these tires on. I'm
Mm,
gonna go slow, but that's,
yeah.
whatever.
I was talking. Do you know the guy that landed the Carbon Cub on the hotel in Dubai?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Luke? Yeah. So
Yep.
we text back and forth. I had his wife on my pod, and I'm trying to get him on. And so he was telling me, I'm like, man, that thing's nice. What's the speed on that thing? He goes, that's just one giant drag machine, big
Oh
wheels and
yeah,
everything. He
yeah,
goes, they ain't going
yeah.
anywhere, right?
No, no.
It's got power, but it goes up and down, but not fast. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, no, that's cool. He's got a cool little airport too by his house in Poland, and yeah, I might have to shoot out there maybe in the
Yeah,
summer,
that'd be cool.
one of the air shows. But yeah, that's awesome, man. And I see your kids. I wish my daughter would go fly with me.
Yeah, they're it's the winter now, but the older they get, the less, I don't want to say less interested they are, but they're just very busy. So, but as long as they come with me, I'll be happy. I don't know if any of them want to actually get their license, which kind of breaks my heart. But there's still a lot of time, and I know a lot of my
Yeah,
friends
yeah.
where their kids have learned. They say, oh, it kind of happens later in their adolescence of them saying, hey, I want to fly. So we'll see. We've still got some time. I hope I have two airplanes. Who am I going to give them to when I get too old to fly?
Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Um, so same school as Coley went. My daughter goes to plays lacrosse there for the university. So Lewis and my daughter went up with me once because I went to one of her games, so we flew back home. But it was in the Cessna 172. But her roommate, basically, she's from Florida, and she's doing all her ratings there.
Oh, okay.
So she's really interested. She's asking me like, "Hey, can I use your plane to get a tail wheel?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." But so hopefully via
Yeah.
that, my daughter gets kind of more excited
Interest.
into
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we can reintroduce that a little bit in.
Yeah.
It was fun, man. But we take off, and I'm all excited, right? Oh, look at this, downtown over there, a real nice view. And she just like looks up. Oh, that's nice, and looks back down on her
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
Like, come
Yeah.
on, give me a little more
Yeah.
here, man.
Yep.
That's
Yeah. Sounds
cool.
like my kid. Yeah.
What's the name of that field that you keep your plane on, man? Because it's got a nice the
So
grass strip. That's where you keep it.
So no, I keep it at the Flying W, which basically is right next to that grass strip. That grass strip is like on the downwind, essentially, of the Flying W, and it's called Allen's Airstrip, and it's owned by Rick Allen and his wife Sharon. They're like they've been there for like generations, and they're just like the nicest people that you could ever hope for when it comes to general aviation. And that's where I keep my J3 now, actually, because the Super Cub's going to the hangar at the Flying W. And they have, the like pumpkin drops, they have pancake flying breakfast the second Saturday of every month. So like it's an awesome, awesome place. Um, so yeah, and I might even just put the Super Cub there because it's a grass strip and I can't afford to buy these bush tires once a year. So I might swap airplanes and do that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a really
Yeah.
nice those little shots that you have,
Thank you.
especially when it's a little misty and all that, man,
Yeah.
with the little
Yeah.
vortex. That's some
Yeah.
really, really nice shots, man. But so yeah, I think I came across your stuff. I was just one of these overnights, on my phone, sitting in the hotel, and then you know how that algorithm, once you get it
Oh
on, then
yeah.
it just kind of
Yeah.
hits you,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
so I got that, and then I got into Joe Winbach that,
Okay.
yeah, the Fat Sow. Have you seen any of
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah,
Man, the little strips that he goes into and the
yeah. I know,
one
I
between
know.
the 2 trees, I'm like, "Holy shit, dude, this how's this gonna work out?" Yeah, because
Yeah,
you see it from the top and you're like, "Where?" And then he all of a
yeah,
sudden, he comes in, but he's got it down, man. He puts it down, he gets it pretty nicely, so, man, that's awesome.
yeah.
What do you film that stuff with? Is that an
Uh,
Insta360 or what?
I have an Insta 360. I have a GoPro. I have a Nikon full frame camera with a whole bunch of long telephoto lenses. So that's where I do most of, like, the cinematic shots, if you will, is done like 4K or 8K. So yeah, it's a lot of money for that stuff too. God, Jesus. Yeah,
More good decisions, huh?
I know. I know. Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
What was that, remember that movie, what was it Role Models? No, Interns, when the guy is, like, telling them to come work at this, at this mattress
With
shop.
is it with Al Pacino, that, or Robert
No,
De
no,
Niro,
no.
that one?
No, no, it was Will Ferrell and, Owen Wilson, and then
Oh,
and the guy's
okay.
like he's like, "You gotta make better choices in life," and he's like, "What's that tattoo on your neck?" And it's, like, in Chinese characters. He goes, "What does that say?" He goes, "Make better choices." Right on the neck, right open, yeah, that's good. No, that's cool, man. How when did you start that channel on YouTube?
um, I think I had like a Instagram and YouTube in like 2000. Oh, what was it? Wow, 2008. I didn't really do anything with it up until,
Wow,
yeah, until I think, I guess, when I got my Cub. So, which was 2018, 2019, something like that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty big following, huh?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. It's you know, the growth kind of goes in spurts, and I feel like every time the algorithm changes, it's like, okay, what do I have to do now to keep growing? And it just kind of gets a little exhausting at times. So,
How
but
do you how do you deal with some of those comments? Because 'Cause I've seen one of your videos where you're like
I know. I'm like, and my wife is like, I don't understand, like, why would you engage, and why would you? I'm like, well, this person's a fucking idiot, But
Yeah,
you just, I mean, really, what, I can't. I have to just ignore it, or I should just ignore it, really.
yeah, that's you listen to Joe Rogan at all?
Yeah, clips. I don't really sit down and listen to whole
Yeah,
episodes, but yeah,
that's like his first thing is never read the comments.
yeah, he's 100% right.
'Cause that's the thing, it's like you go in this dark hole and engaging
Oh
with these
yeah,
people, and they're just I mean, when you see the comments on half the things out there, like, "Oh, good cow," I'm like, "What the f this
yeah,
is
yeah.
garbage," right?
No,
But
yeah,
yeah. So, yeah, there's idiots everywhere, but
yep.
that's cool. You use a drone at all or no?
Yeah, I have a DJI Mavic that I've used for some, but now, like, I just don't want to deal with the liability issues of it, so I haven't really done much of that. I might with the Super Cub to get certain shots that I really want to get, but it's just such like a not a big project, but it's just a lot, like a ton of coordination that goes into it to just keep myself 100% legal and safe, that it's just kind of a pain in the ass, because I feel like most of my stuff is just very spur of the moment, don't want to think too much about it, where that requires like a whole kind of planning. So um, I do use it, but just not as frequently as I probably would like to.
Yeah, I had all these plans. I bought the same thing, DJI. I was gonna do some field audits, do like a side business and if I can use it
Yeah,
for like a week.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now I'm inspecting my roof, that's the only
yeah,
thing as
yeah,
far as I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
can.
yeah.
So, I've seen you doing stuff for AOPA. Are you sort of like a representative or
Yeah, like a partner, called a partnership with AOPA, and
okay.
yeah, they approached me probably about a year and a half ago, and it was something that I was like, absolutely, because I've literally been an AOPA member, I think, since before I got my license. I mean, I've been an AOPA member for 25 plus years. So it was like, heck yeah, I know there's some drama going on with leadership right now, but it's way above my pay grade. I use the pilot protection services, read the magazines, go through articles. So like, that upper management stuff, I feel like, is getting a lot of attention right now. But it's like, listen, AOPA is built upon a whole bunch of membership, and the mission is the same. So I know people are getting really bent out of shape, but hopefully nothing the organization's mission doesn't change, so I guess we'll see.
You've been to Oshkosh, right?
Yeah. Yep.
More than once, or
Uh, Twice, and I'm gonna make sure that I go this year too. Yeah.
okay, yeah. You know what? The
Yeah.
only the closest I ever got to Oshkosh was we're still kind of logging time. This is in like '04 or '05, and I remember going up to Marquette, Michigan, and it was the week of the fly-in, and I've never seen so many people at all these different
Yeah. Yeah.
altitudes, and you're
Yeah.
like, "What, dude? I don't even." Did you fly
I
in
know.
there, or did you actually
No,
drive in? And
no, no. I drove in. I would like to fly this year. I just don't know if I'm gonna have all the days off that I need, all the time off. But I would love to fly out there. Well, you know what? I would love to have my airplane out there. Wouldn't necessarily love to fly out there, especially doing the arrivals and all that stuff. But
that's
I guess that's
crazy.
part of the experience. Yeah, I know. I don't know.
I think I'd rather fly into JFK in my Taylorcraft and I going in there,
I
man.
know.
It's just I
It's
just see.
certainly safer. That's for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man.
yeah.
So how much more work you got on this Super Cub? What else you gonna do to it?
Um, I think I have everything. I'm waiting for the U Avionics AV30. Um, that should be here in the next couple days. Then I have everything. So they have to put the exhaust on, do some more oil lines to make sure that fits, put the prop on, and then I think that's it. Waiting for my valve covers that are getting painted, and then do the brake lines for the suspension because the brakes are on there, but I just got to hook up the lines to the brakes, and then everything else should be pretty much done.
You
So
got your own sort of uh, mechanics that you know, and
yeah, so I have a guy that does all my J3 stuff, and then this airplane was a little different just because his hangar is at my airport, so it's just a lot easier to have him do it. And he actually is a United 777 pilot and great guy. And he's got Stearmans, he's got an L4, he's got a bunch of airplanes. So I was like, "Hey, can you do all this stuff?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, man! Bring the airplane over, and we'll start doing it." So
it's the best. It's always the
yeah,
best to have a partner, especially in the
yeah.
plane at the
I
A and
know.
P, right?
I hopped over there today, and he's going to Dubai tonight, so he'll be gone for a couple days. But hopefully by the end of next week, it should be pretty close to being wrapped up.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got. I mean, that plane. I just emailed the guy. I'm like, I'm trying to. Brakes don't really work because they have those heel brakes.
yeah,
So I'm doing
yeah,
a run up and the thing's kind of moving up on me. So I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
he's like, "Oh, you just got to stump on him." I'm like, "Well, I am. I'm like,
yeah. Just the
putting it
bottom
through the
down.
floor, man." Yeah. So he's like showing me how to do these adjustments, and I got to do an oil change and all that stuff. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
It's definitely cool. Something that I got back into and enjoy it. But my wife hates flying. Does your wife fly with you?
she'll fly with me. She's kind of indifferent about it, so
Yeah. Yeah. Mine hates
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, my wife,
Yeah.
she doesn't hate it, but she doesn't. She's not like, "Oh, let's go flying," either. So yeah,
No, I keep telling mine, I'm like, hey, we can go up, daughter's at school. We can go to do a little bed and
yeah,
breakfast. We can
yeah,
go
yeah,
to
yeah.
one of her games. She's like, no, we can drive. I'm like, no, what's the point?
Yeah, yeah,
That's the whole experience. But oh well.
yeah.
Awesome, man. Cool. So what are the plans for the summer? Fly that thing as much as possible or what?
Yeah, fly as much as possible, fly the J3 as much as possible. Try to avoid working weekends and just hang out at the hangar, drink beer after flying. That's pretty much it, man. Throw some barbecues at the hangar, and that's it. That's
That's
the
not
plan.
how many hours you get in on that? What did you fly in that Cub per year? What would you
Like
say?
100 150?
Well, that's a lot, huh?
Yeah, yeah, I fly it. I mean, I would fly it every single day if the weather was
Damn.
good. Yeah. I
How
definitely backed off this year significantly, but it's more just because like schedule and weather. So that's it'll pick back up here though very shortly, the next month or so.
how far is that field from your house?
Like 12 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. See, mine's
I
like
know.
45, so I wish it was that close.
Yeah, I mean, this airport, I think he sold it, officially sold it, and I think they're going to turn it into housing at some point. So I got to figure out where I'm going to put one airplane and put the other. But the closest hangar available to me might be like an hour away, so that's going to be tough. But I'll make it work.
Yeah. Same story. There's a private strip, probably less than 10 minutes from my house. And I drove there recently. I was going to ask the guy, I'm like, hey, you got any hangar space open? And I see it's been sold and they're going to put a
Yeah.
horse farm on
Oh,
it. So I'm like, and it was perfect. It was
yeah.
perfect. It was right there, man. They had a grass strip and they had a paved strip.
Oh, that's nice.
That would have been like
Yeah.
perfect. But yeah, of
Yeah.
course, shit happens like that.
Yep. Yep.
Cool, dude. Uh, Thanks for your time.
Yeah, man.
I
Absolutely. It's
appreciate
good
it, man.
chatting.
This is
Yeah.
I know how the schedules work, and it's always tough to get things done. And I saw you got that new airplane. I was like, ah, shit.
I know.
I'll
Yeah,
keep
this
in that.
it's perfect now because the J3 is at the airport. There's still 2 feet of grass on the grass strip, and then the Super Cup's getting work on. So I mean, this is perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Nice. No, hopefully the weather gets a little better now. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
almost 70 degrees here in Chicago. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it'll
Nice.
go up at 70 and it'll snow next day. So that's how
Yeah.
it works
Yeah.
here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
That snow that came through. Did you guys get hit hard or?
A couple weeks ago we did. We got hit
Yeah,
with like almost a foot of snow and then like solid ice on top of that, and it's still a ton of snow out there now.
perfect.
But
Yeah,
I know.
it's almost gone here. I don't think there's any snow left. It's funny how
Yeah,
that
but
comes in.
it's great because it'll be like this, and then another month or two, like 70-degree days. The grass is starting to green up. The airplanes are ready to go out of annual, so it should be good.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I got to do in April. But
Yeah, me too.
awesome. Where would if people want to find your stuff? Where would they?
Um, so Instagram is bananas with 9 S's, and then YouTube, I think is either bananas 9 S's or just my name, Joe Costanza.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
How'd you come up with bananas? That was my question.
Dude, I don't know, man. I think at the time one of my good buddies was like, "Oh, go on Instagram." And I think I was like creeping on some girl or something. I don't even know. It was before I met my wife, and I think I just put bananas, but it took like 9 S's before it was available. So that's just kind of how I got there. Yeah, I know.
Okay, that's the story. That was.
Yeah.
I always thought it was because your airplane was yellow. I was like,
No,
oh,
I
maybe that's
got
why.
it. No, man, I got it long before I thought about buying an airplane.
Ah,
So
all right,
yeah,
cool. All
yeah,
right, awesome. Thank you for your time.
yeah. You got it, dude.
The plans we make and chances we take, I feel everything more with you. Quiet confidence and trusting every step, and we know that our faith will get us through. It's so obvious, forever calling us, and this time we won't wait and wonder anymore. When the morning breaks, we won't hesitate. It's the first day, it's the first page. Our story starts here. Our story starts here. Before our eyes, now we find it all becomes so clear. Our story starts here. Constant faith in the words we say, and it makes us sure we're never letting go. It's so obvious, forever calling us. It's the first day, yeah, it's the first page. Our story starts here. Our story starts here. Before our so obvious, forever calling us. It's the first day, yeah, it's the first page. Our story starts here. Our story starts here. Our story starts here.